We begin with the shooting of a 37-year-old man in Minneapolis and what President Trump should do about it. I mean, what he should do about his mission, his ongoing mission, and the country's to rid the United States of criminal illegal aliens, which is exactly what he was elected to do. He was elected with majority support to get rid of all the illegals here, all of them. The country was united, at least a majority of it was, in getting rid of the illegals who are here, never mind the worst ones, the ones who have committed additional crimes. Of course, everyone, the majority, was united in that. And that's what he's been trying to do. And he has gone city after city trying to do it with very little problems, except in Minneapolis, where he has a true insurrection at hand. I mean, he does. He has an insurrection at hand. And it's evident in the streets there day after day after day. And the question is, what do we do about it? On Saturday, a 37-year-old man, Alex Pretti, was shot by Border Patrol agents there after a confrontation. Alex Pretti was there being subversive. He was there trying to interfere with the traffic, trying to direct traffic into an ICE operation from the look of it. He was not there to help. He was not there to assist law enforcement or make things easier for them. He was there with a loaded gun looking to cause trouble for the Border Patrol agents. And that trouble came back on him. We'll get into the specifics in the frame by frame and all of that in a minute. But I just want to say, like, I don't personally, I'm so sick of this bullshit. These are organized agitators who train to disrupt and in some cases hurt law enforcement. They go out there looking for confrontations that they can make go viral on their social media or that they can use as propaganda to turn people against the good guys, the ones who are trying to rid us of the scourge of child molesting illegals. That's what they want to do. They want to paint themselves as noble and the ICE or the Border Patrol agents as awful and get some sort of confrontation on camera or something that'll make them look silly or bad or brutal. And then when things turn actually bad and brutal and dangerous, and in the case of Renee Good and now this Alex Pretti, all of their remaining enablers rush to social media and the cameras to say, you see, we told you. No. Even if I, Megyn Kelly, went to interrupt law enforcement conducting lawful arrests and law enforcement operations with a loaded gun tucked into the back of my pants, and then I engaged in a physical confrontation with them, where I'm shoving and they're shoving, I'd be in grave danger. Yes, the gun is definitely going to amp up the police officer's reasonable fear for their own safety. But even without me having a gun in this scenario, I'd be in grave danger because resisting arrest can lead to very bad things. And just ask George Floyd. You don't do it. Bad things can come. You don't resist arrest. You don't antagonize cops in the middle of the street in a law enforcement operation. And then when they've got hands on you trying to place you under arrest, you submit. That's it. Submit. Haven't we all had this conversation with our children? I've told my boys and my daughter this, my husband too. We've all talked to our kids about it. And I know some, back during BLM, they wanted to say only black people have this conversation with their kids. Bullshit. Every normal parent tells their children, if you get pulled over by a cop or find yourself interacting with a cop, you submit. If they are being a prick, a racist, a bully, overbearing, if they're wrong, if they don't actually have the right person, we will deal with it later. Because you don't antagonize a law officer with a gun. It's just they face too many threats that are deadly to them. We have to be the ones to be extra careful about not antagonizing. We do, especially in Minnesota and Minneapolis, because of what they're doing to the Border Patrol and the ICE there. I'm sorry, but there's actually a greater, ironically, responsibility on those protesters, they're terrorists in my view, to behave well and submit immediately than there is on anybody else, because they have put these guys on the razor's edge. I mean, as Alex Pretti is getting shot, an ICE officer was getting elsewhere in Minnesota, his finger bitten off by one of these terrorists. Like, I know I'm supposed to feel sorry for Alex Pretti, but I don't. Do you know why I wasn't shot by Border Patrol this weekend? Because I kept my ass inside and out of their operations. It's very simple. If I felt strongly enough about something the government was doing that I would go out and protest, I would do it peacefully on the sidewalk without interfering via a whistle, via shouting, via my body, via any other way. I would make my objections known by standing there without interfering, because interfering is where you go south. And laying hands on a police officer trying to, or Border Patrol officer or ICE officer trying to conduct a law enforcement operation is a felony. And now you are going to get arrested. And if you do anything that resembles resisting, you're in serious trouble. It doesn't give them the, quote, right to shoot you. It amps up the situation and the danger such that they may be found in reasonable fear of their safety if they do. I sent out a post on X over the weekend saying, maybe it's time for President Trump to just pull ICE out of Minnesota. Pull them. Not as a cave to these lunatics, but to teach them a lesson. Let's pull all of ICE and all of Border Patrol and then say, you know what, world, there's going to be zero federal immigration enforcement anywhere in this state. In fact, if you're a criminal illegal alien anywhere in the United States, here is your invitation to move to Minnesota, where we are telling you you will be safe. You will be safe there from federal immigration officials to commit crimes, no matter how destructive or disgusting it may be. Go ahead. Have at it. Have at the people of Minnesota. I'm sorry, if you're a Republican, you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to get out. I know it's inconvenient. I had to do it. Look, we fled New York. We had to. Had to do it for the good of our kids. We went to a blue state, Connecticut, which is a little bit more purple in certain pockets. But I'm sorry. You've chosen to live in a state that is just too insane. And honestly, like, all the illegals should go there. And we should also tell them you can set up a fraudulent business there and it will flourish unchecked with the help of Minnesota taxpayers, not federal, because we're going to have to find a way to cut off federal taxpayer money to Minnesota. That's obvious. They're basically seceding from the union. And also, every single asylum seeker in the USA, Trump has done a good job of shutting down asylum seekers because it was just so abused under Biden. But let's say we reopen that spigot or we allow some to pursue it. Every single one must live in Minnesota if they want to apply for asylum. We are not considering any asylum applications that come from anybody from a state other than Minnesota. Let's get them all into Minneapolis and St. Paul. Get them all there. You love the illegals so much, go there. Welcome them into your community with the open arms you purport to have as they're being deported and shipped out. I mean, as they're being shoved out, you're suddenly super welcoming. Okay. I mean, they're committing forcible sodomy on children, but I guess that, you'll just handle it. Maybe you'll just give them a cup of chamomile tea and talk them out of their lawless ways. Good luck. I honestly, like, I'm tongue in cheek here, but I'm like, something dramatic must be done. Like, if this is how it's going to go, if they don't want any help from the federal government, who's got sole responsibility for immigration enforcement, sole, the states have none. It is up to President Trump to deport the illegals and to secure the border. If they don't want anything to do with it, they don't want the feds doing their job, which is not for them to say. I mean, it is subversive, unlawful, and you could argue now insurrection-y, what they're doing. Maybe the answer is, okay, have them. Remember when Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis shipped the illegals who had been crossing the border north to Chicago, to New York, to Martha's Vineyard? It changed everything. Changed the entire conversation. All those rich progressives in Martha's Vineyard couldn't get those illegals out of their island fast enough, remember? I mean, it was like literally less than 48 hours. Governor DeSantis sent 50 of them to the island. Less than 2 days later, they'd been shipped off to mainland Massachusetts. Remember? And then somebody was interviewed and said, oh, we missed them. We're going to go visit them at the facility to which they've been shipped. Sure, Jan. How'd those visits go? Probably lost. It's like, adopting a hamster. You lost interest after the first week, I'm sure. Honestly, but they felt the pain that previously only Texas had felt. And maybe what we need to do is let Minneapolis, they love the illegals so much, let's ship them all there. We've got detention facilities all over the country. Maybe they all need to be in Minneapolis now. Sorry, they do. I'm sure we've got some federal land, some federal parks that we can fill with ICE detention facilities, and then we can incentivize the other illegals. Maybe we'll tell them we're going to implement E-Verify everywhere in the union, all 50 states except one, Minnesota. You can get a job there. You can work with the state government. Let's just create every single incentive we can. I'm sorry for our normal people in Minnesota. I really am. I realize this is completely F you over. You're going to have to move. You're going to have to get out. There are other states that are also like Minnesota, like Michigan, but slightly less crazy. I'm tongue in cheek, but I'm also genuinely trying to think of ways to respond to this other than just amping up law enforcement, because the downside of amping up the law enforcement or actually invoking the Insurrection Act, which many are saying it's time to do, is President Trump is going down in the polls day by day as a result of all of this. The media has lost its mind. It's even more biased and disgusting than normal, and it's doing its level best to completely tank Trump and all Republicans on this, and it's working. It's working. The polls keep showing rapidly eroding support for President Trump's immigration efforts, which are completely noble and well-intended and the right policy, but losing support because of the media, because of David Muir and others like him. I was talking to my mom. My mom somehow fell over into watching ABC Evening News. She started to sound like a leftist. I said, Mom, what the hell? What are you doing? She's like, I've been out during the day, so I've just been popping on David Muir at night. I said, Mom, I insist that you stop that. I insist. She's like, if I just want like a half an hour update, no. Now she's watching Special Report if she needs to watch news in the 6 o'clock hour and she's getting back on track. But this is like the manipulation of people, even people who should know better, is ubiquitous. It's ubiquitous. It's ABC, it's NBC, it's CBS, it's CNN, it's MSNBC, it's the New York Times, it's the Washington Post, it's the Chicago Tribune, it's the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And so President Trump is losing on this issue. Don't kid yourself. I say this as a supporter who doesn't want him to. But this is going to turn into an absolute bloodbath come the midterms. I mean, we're talking about possibly losing Senate seats, losing the Senate and control, Republican control. So something needs to be done. So do we just invoke the Insurrection Act and say we're tough and like F you and this is what we do? I mean, I'd be happy with it, but I have to think about the rest of the nation and I have to think about what's going to play long term. And I just don't know that sending the actual military there to keep matters in hand is going to do it. And I also don't want to see law enforcement continue to risk their lives. I mean, honestly, I'm really, Renee Good and Alex Pretti, they died because of their own terrible decision-making. That's the truth. The rest of us are alive right now because we didn't do that. But I'm worried about the ICE agents. I'm worried about the Border Patrol agents who actually are just trying to enforce the law. And it's just a matter of time before one of them gets killed. A new year means new financial goals, like making sure your savings are secure and diversified. Will this be the year you decide to talk to someone from Birch Gold Group? They use an educational approach with a deep understanding of macroeconomics. There are forces pushing the dollar lower and gold higher, which is why they believe every American should own physical gold. So until January 30th, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, just text MK to the number 989898. Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you are still eligible for a rebate of up to $10,000. Consider making right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate up to $10,000 when you buy by January 30th. Text MK to the number 989898. Claim your eligibility today. Again, just text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.